This is the Dustar Arad 1. It's a knife that I stumbled onto when I was researching other knives, looking for what my next knife purchase was going to be. I was looking for another full-size knife, and I like large blades. And when I saw this, when I started reading about it, and what interested me and intrigued me the most was the type of steel used on the blade. It uses D2, which is a very hard steel. What I've read is it takes a while to hone a sharp edge on it, but once you get that edge honed, it holds that edge very well. And I've seen some videos and read some articles about some torture tests that this knife has been through. And in one of them, the guy actually cut a metal army can in half with the knife by prying on it and taking a hammer and pounding on the back of the blade as he pushed through the metal. And there wasn't any physical damage to the blade when he was done as far as nicks or dings. I'm sure it was a little bit duller than when he started, but it's a very hard steel and doesn't nick or ding up like some other softer steels would. So that's why I purchased it. Was specifically for the quality of the steel, and I'm going to be spending some time the next few weeks and months honing on the edge and trying to get a nice sharp edge to it. I purchased this one used on the secondary market. The price new is pretty substantial, and I thought maybe someday I would pick one up, but in the meantime I just started looking for a used one, and pretty quickly I was able to find one and got a good deal on it. There are two configurations this knife comes in. This is the standard configuration. It's got the brass handguard and then the dull metal blade. The other configuration has more of a black subdued look, where the handguard is also black and the blade is painted black. I really like the finish on the blade. Black finishes are nice, but they will eventually wear or scratch off, so this is sort of nice to have just a more natural look, which won't look so scratched up. But it's not a shiny, it's a very dull finish, and the type of finish it is, it doesn't look like it's going to wear off very easily, because it just looks like it's been brushed down into the metal itself. The knife is made in Israel. It's got a 7-inch blade. There are no serrations on it, which is one of the main things that I wanted. On the current knife that I had, the SOG seal knife, it was about the same size and type of knife, although it did not have the straight blade. It had serrations right here on this part of the blade, and it also did not have this large handguard, and I've always been a big fan of these large handguards. This is not a balanced knife in the sense that the blade is heavier, so you can't just hold it in your hand and have it balance. The tang, I believe, comes back to about here, and these pins or rivets go through it to attach this fiberglass reinforced polycarbonate handle to the tang, but it does not come all the way back, probably for weight savings. But if the tang had come all the way back and maybe even protruded out the back a little bit, you probably could have gotten a balanced knife. For me, that's not such a big deal. I'm not a knife fighter. I use mine for survival and hunting mostly, and just camping. So that doesn't bother me at all. It's got a very nice feel to it. The contours of the fingers are very well placed, and they line up with my hand and my fingers perfectly. So it's got a good solid feel to it. You can grab hold of it. It's a very thick, heavy blade, which is again what I like. The one that I bought used came with 2 sheaths. One is the standard green, olive drab green nylon sheath, which is what I've been looking for. Just a standard, easy, quick detach sheath. I was a little bit concerned about the Velcro, but once you get that attached to the belt, it does not want to come off. You really can't pull it off like this. You have to pull the tab up from the back side, which it would be very difficult for that to accidentally happen. It also has a Velcro attachment down here if you want to attach it to some of your equipment or throw it on your leg. It also has the place for the lanyards. It comes with a green lanyard, and of course this pouch where you could put the honing stone. And then the sheath is lined with plastic so that the blade does not cut into the nylon. So it's a pretty well made sheath. The knife attaches to the sheath with this nylon, and if you attach it very snugly, the knife doesn't move much, so I like that. It's a very simple and very effective sheath, because the way I use this is I usually grab an army belt with a pistol and some other equipment attached to it, so I can easily attach this or remove it depending on whether or not I'm going to need it whenever I'm going out. It also came with the leather sheath, black leather. I'm not a huge fan of leather sheaths, but this one I'll probably use if I'm just going out camping or just going to be attaching it to a regular leather belt, because it doesn't have a large enough belt loop, and it's not a quick detached belt loop on the back. You just slide the belt through the loop. It's also got the lanyard at the bottom, but just kind of a simple black sheath, and it is very well made. It is good quality leather with a nice snap on it, so it will secure the knife very well. so I will also make use of that. In comparison to the current knife that I have, the SOG Seal 2000, I believe is what it was. Very similar blades. This one is a little bit wider and maybe a little bit thicker. The SOG has a little bit more cuts on it to make it a little bit lighter. The SOG has a little bit more of a tip, a little bit more of a point to the tip. But overall, they're very similar blades. I prefer the Dustar. I just like the heavier feel. I like the fact that it has no serrations, and I like the handguard here. The SOG, it is a nice contoured handle. You can see it's got some slight contours for your fingers, and then it's got this for your thumb, which is very nice if you're working like this. So sometimes cleaning game, this is very nice. But if you're going to grab hold of it like this, I prefer having the safety of not having your hand slip forward. And this one's a little bit more balanced, if that's important to you. The SOG knife is a little bit more balanced. It's almost balanced enough just to hold it there on your finger right in the middle of the knife. This Dustar Arad knife is patterned after the Randall fighting knives, which have always been known to be very high quality and a good design knife. This one's got a few characteristics that make it its own, but for the most part it's very similar to those knives, which are very expensive knives too. And I've known about them and kind of watched them for years, but the price just didn't make sense. And I'm not sure what type of steel it is that they use. Probably very good steel, but again, what interested me most about this one was the D2 steel. I hadn't heard much about it, and when I started reading about it, there weren't a whole lot of knives making use of that. So my plan is to spend some time putting an edge on it and see how it holds up camping and just out here on the farm. And when hunting season kicks up, this will be what I'm carrying around, and I'll use it for anything that I come across that I need a knife. And also for cleaning the game, because the blade is a very nice shaped blade for cleaning large animals. So I hope this has been helpful to you. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.